All right, Larry Krueger here at Levi's for the Pig and a Pickle Krug show. The clock is winding down here in the fourth quarter. 49ers are going to lose to the Chiefs. It's 28-12 right now. And, you know, the Niners would get the ball first. They couldn't do anything with it. Kansas City, you know, Niners, on Kansas City's first possession, they had a fake punt, but the Niners defense was ready for it. The Niners had their defense on the field for the fake punt, so they weren't surprised. But on the next play, Purdy went to Kittle, but Justin Reed intercepted it, and that was the theme of the day. Purdy had a rough day. That was the first of 3 picks, and so Kansas City got the ball. But their drive in the first quarter ended when Mahomes was intercepted by Kalia Davis. So the Niners would get it back. Niners couldn't do anything with it, though. They would have to punt. Ultimately, Anders Carlson's 55-yard field goal got the Niners on the board. It was a 4-play, 22-yard drive that gave the Niners a 3-0 lead. So at that point, you know, the Niners are up 3-0. The first quarter ended with the 49ers up 3-0. Kansas City would score on their 4th possession. It was a 7-play drive that went 70 yards, and Kareem Hunt went in from 1 yard out to make it 7-3. This touchdown drive was aided by 3 49er penalties. Bosa was lined up offsides on 2nd and 10. That was costly. That was a really costly penalty. So instead of 3rd and 10, it was 2nd and 5. And then Givens jumped offsides, or he lined up offsides, or he jumped. And then the Niners had 12 men on the field. So that was a bad penalty, and that made it, you know, 2nd and goal from the 1, and Kareem Hunt plunged in from 1 yard out to make it 7-3 Kansas City. So Kansas City had the 7-3 lead. Then the Niners on the next possession on 3rd and 2, Purdy threw a dime to Ayuk, but Ayuk dropped it, and the Niners were forced to punt. And then on the punt, McCole Hardman ran it 55 yards back to the 30-yard line. So Mahomes took advantage of a short field. Kareem Hunt would go in from a 6-yard score to cap a 7-play drive and make it 14-3. So that's the way it stayed, 14-3 in the second quarter. Niners just struggled to get anything going at all. Purdy on 3rd and 12 on the next drive went to Kittle. He was under pressure. Purdy threw incomplete, so the Niners were forced to punt again. And the Niners would score on their 7th possession. They took it from their 10-yard line. Purdy threw a slant to Ricky Pearsall for his first catch. And then Purdy had a deep ball to Kittle against Justin Reed for 41 yards. And then Purdy hit Ayuk on a hit. Then Ayuk took a huge hit from Connor and had to hobble off. He was down on the field. But the Niners once again had to settle for an Anders Carlson 24-yard field goal. And it was 14-6 at halftime. And if you looked at the first half box, I mean, Niners averaged 2.6 yards per carry. Kansas City averaged 4.4. Niners only had 21 yards rushing. Mason had 5 carries for 3 yards. Garendo had 1 carry for 2 yards. Really, the defense just kept them in it. They were down 14-6 going to the third quarter. Now, on the very first possession of the third quarter, Mahomes would throw an interception to Demo Lenore, who would return it 29 yards. And you know, the 49ers had a little momentum, and then Purdy would score on a quarterback sneak on the next possession to make it a 2-point game. It was 14-12 at that point, 7-play, 23-yard drive. Unbelievably, at that point, I thought Shanahan for sure would go for 2. Instead, he goes for the PAT, and then Carlson misses the PAT. So they're down 14-2. It was an incredibly conservative play by Shanahan to not go for 2 there. Kansas City couldn't do anything on their second possession of the first half. Niners would get it back. But once again, on 3rd and 6 from the 34, Purdy miscommunication with Ronnie Bell. Ronnie Bell probably ran the wrong route. The miscommunication was there. Purdy thought he was going a little deeper. Bell cut it short. Roland Wallace came away with the easiest interception you're ever going to have, and that halted the Niner drive. Kansas City then put this thing on ice with their 9th drive. It was a 13-play, 79-yard drive. Mahomes had a key run on 2nd and 7 from the 37 where he ran for 32 yards, and D. Winters, you know, basically let Mahomes run right by him. He ran out of bounds and let Mahomes run down the sideline untouched. From the 37-yard line, the next play was 1st and goal from the 4. Mahomes on 4th and goal from the 1 had a 1-yard run, and 13-play drive, 21-12 at that point. Niners would get it back, but Purdy would throw an interception on 3rd and goal as Jaden Hicks would pick him off. Really a bad play by Brock. Just a bad play. I mean, the receiver that he was going to was bracketed. Hicks was right there. Just a terrible play by Purdy. And now here we are in the final minutes of the 4th quarter. We're at the 2-minute warning. It's 28-12. Kansas City on their 10th possession would drive the ball down the field, and Hardman had an 18-yard touchdown run to make it 28-12, and that's the way this thing's going to finish. Very disappointing performance from Brock Purdy. Very conservative game calling from Kyle Shanahan. To not go for 2 there was simply made no sense. The Chiefs' defense ruled the day. The 49er offense, once again, totally dominated at home, scoring 12 points. Now Purdy's running around, trying to make a play, but they're down 28-12 inside the 2-minute warning. We'll go inside the locker room. We'll talk to Shanahan. We'll talk to some of the players possibly. Though after the game, a lot of times the locker room is really not that fruitful. But we'll go in there and see what people have to say. I mean, overall, I would say, Debo wasn't there, illness. Ayuk left with an injury. They ran out of receivers. Pearsall's obviously not ready to help them, at least wasn't today. It's a tall ask to ask a rookie to step in his first game and make an impact. Ronnie Bell is just a guy. I mean, come on. I mean, they're really hurting there. And then defensively, they didn't do nearly enough against Kareem Hunt. More shoddy tackling, more special teams blunders, more turnovers. The bottom line with this thing is that the 49ers were going to have to be +2 on the turnover table to win this game. +1 or +2, and they're nowhere close to that.
On the tackle.
So, my 3 interceptions for Purdy were killer. Those turnovers will beat you every time. But the Niner defense, giving up 28 points to the Chiefs and really didn't do a good job against Hunt at all. Hunt could do what he wanted to do. They took a couple shots down the field to Worthy. They didn't connect on them, but Kansas City made plays when they needed to. Kyle got very conservative. The Niners in the second half, I mean, if you go look at the possessions and how things ended, the Niners first half went punt, interception, punt, field goal, punt, field goal. And in the second half, they went touchdown, interception. So, it wasn't a good. So, yeah, the Niners second half possessions went touchdown, interception,
11 yards, and a touchdown.
And touchdown. So they've just scored a touchdown to get back a little closer, but this one is all over but the crying. 28-19, it looks like the final is going to be here. 49ers are going to lose to Kansas City, and it sets up next week as a must-win. Niners fall to 3-4. If they fall to 3-5 next week, they're probably backing up the truck and trading some guys at the trade deadline. So it's a gotta-have-it game against Dallas, and there's no shame in losing to the world champion Chiefs, but at the same time, it's like if the Niners wind up losing this game and next week against Dallas, it's probably time to pack it in. At some point, you just look up and say, you know what? Maybe this team's not that good after all. Maybe they're not that good. I don't think they're that great on the line of scrimmage. They're pretty slow on the perimeter. Their linebackers are just okay outside of Fred. So I mean, they're not. It's not a great. The defense is not a dominating defense, and offensively, you just saw what a really good defense did to their offense. 28-12 at home. And it looks like the 49ers may score here, but still, I mean, you're barely doing anything offensively at home on a perfect weather day. So a very disappointing loss for the 49ers. Sets up a game next week against Dallas, and Dallas will be coming off the bye, where you got to have it. You got to beat the Cowboys next week. You can't fall to 3-5. You got to get back to 500. and set yourself up for a second half run at the playoffs. The one consolation prize is that the Niners division is awful.
On the quarterback sneak, gain of 1 yard,
It's an
and a
awful.
touchdown.
It's an awful division. So yeah, Purdy with the touchdown here. So it's now going to be 28-19 after the PAT. Maybe I guess they'll go for 2 here because they'll go for the onside kick. So they'll go for they'll go for 2 to try to make it 28-20, and then they'll go for the onside kick to try to get that one last possession and throw a Hail Mary. I doubt it will be successful here, but they are going for the 2-point conversion. The Niners are 0-1 this year on the 2-point conversion, so we'll see if they can get the 2-point conversion. If they can get the 2-point conversion, then that sets up the onside kick. If they can recover the onside kick, then maybe and no. They throw incomplete to Ricky Pearsall on the 2-point conversion. So 28-18. Chiefs will get the ball back. They'll take a knee, and that will be it. We'll go in the locker room. We'll talk to some players in Shanahan, and then we'll do a hit on the KMBR. Join me on the KMBR postgame show with John Lund and Dennis Brown and Adam Copeland, and then I will go live up here in afterwards on the Krug show. With Kev and Rye and Danny and possibly Damon and JD. So we got that coming up. So Niners lose this one, another painful loss. It just doesn't look like it's their year. It just doesn't seem like it's their year. Offensively, they're not doing enough. They lack a lot of speed, and defensively, they're okay. Nothing better. They've got some good young DBs. They've got a couple pieces, but they're just not a very good defense on all 3 levels. So, and then special teams, is a circus, and again today it was a problem. So, Niners lose this one. Thanks for supporting the Krug Show. Check out Pig and a Pickle, 2 locations, Emeryville and Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. Also, thanks to Sharp Corner Sports Cards and Collectibles. They're at 205 Cypress Avenue in Pacific Grove, California. Call my friend Anthony Catania. He's at 831-521-5264. Join us on the post game, and we'll take calls and we'll talk about this one. But man, very disappointing day here at Levi's.